Hi, my name is Dana. I'm the editor-in-chief of the teen-led Just Allergy magazine. The other team members and I at the Just Allergy magazine decided to start our podcast to spread food allergy education to a greater audience. With this podcast, we aim to share our experience with food allergies and give advice, comfort, and support to those who have food allergies or to those who want to learn more about the cause. We also hope to shed light on the invisible impacts of living with food allergies and expose them to the non-allergic population. So, whether you have food allergies or not, we hope that you join us on our journey of spreading food allergy awareness. Hi everyone, in this episode, you get to meet some of the team members at the Just Allergy Things magazine. I talk with Melody, Lauren, Lindsay, and Emily to discuss our personal experiences with food allergies. We cover a variety of topics from when we were first diagnosed with food allergies to friends with food allergies to our favorite allergy-friendly foods. We also discuss our experiences with allergic reactions. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoy the episode. Hi, I'm Dana. I'm the editor. I'm 15 years old.
I'm Melody. I'm 17, and I am a staff writer and social media consultant for the magazine.
I'm Lauren. I'm 16, and I'm a staff writer.
I'm Lindsay. I'm 17, and I'm also a staff writer.
I'm Emily. I'm 15, and I'm a staff writer.
Let's just start off with when you guys were diagnosed with your food allergies and what they are.
Yeah, so I have a unique diagnosis. I have been diagnosed pretty much every 3 years for the entirety of my life. My first allergen was diagnosed at 1.5, and that was my dairy allergy. I was diagnosed with celiac disease at 4 or 5, and I was diagnosed with shellfish at 8, mollusks at 11, and my most recent one is cephalopods at age 14.
I've had allergies my whole life, but I was not diagnosed with my dairy allergy until I was about 9 months old, and then I was 3 for my egg allergy, and I think about 9 for kiwi.
Nice. Okay, yeah, I'll just go next. So I think the majority of my allergies I've had also since I was 9 months old. I've had dairy, egg, peanuts, and tree nuts and mustard since I was 9 months old, and then shellfish I was diagnosed with when I was 8, I think, and then fish I was diagnosed when I was 10.
So I was diagnosed with a tree nut and peanut allergy when I was 5 years old after eating cashew. And obviously that was a bad experience because now I'm allergic to cashews and all nuts.
Yeah, so I'm allergic. I've been allergic to all my allergies since I was about 1, because that's when you're supposed to introduce like egg into like a baby's diet. So my parents gave me egg and I had like hives and like gastrointestinal distress. So they took me to the doctor and it turns out like I'm allergic to like nuts, fish, sesame, legumes, like, and a couple other things. So I've basically had all my allergies throughout my whole life. So what would you guys say the hardest allergen you live with is?
I would say that my hardest one to live with is tree nuts, especially since people are introducing like more vegan substitutes, and that's a lot of like almond and cashew cheeses and milk and all that stuff. So that's definitely hard to live with.
Yeah, I think tree nuts is definitely a really hard one to live with. I think the hardest one for me has definitely been dairy, just because with all the social situations, it's really hard to avoid. And then also in pretty much every restaurant I've been to a lot of restaurants actually that said that they cooked nut free or they just didn't include nuts in the majority of their meals and stuff. But I don't think I've ever been to a place that said, yeah, we don't cook anything with dairy. I know it's present in like almost everything that I've had to substitute, and that's why I'm really glad that my parents and stuff have been able to make meals that use really good dairy substitutes.
I'm gonna agree with Lindsay and say dairy has been one of the absolute hardest, not for food, because where I'm from, there's quite a few restaurants that actually don't use dairy at all. I'm from California, and in a in San Francisco, California, so it's pretty good with that sort of thing. But I'd find dairy is really hard because it's hidden in everything. Shampoos, makeups, conditioners, hand cream, hand sanitizer, even sometimes. So I'd find that is the hardest one to live with.
Yeah, I completely agree. It does feel like dairy isn't so much that you would just not even expect, and you really always have to be on the lookout for it. And just in social situations, it's super hard too. So,
Yeah, I'm personally not allergic to dairy, but I can definitely see how difficult that must be to live with. For me, I would probably say like the most frustrating allergen to live with is legumes, even though they're not as severe. Like I like eating like less meat and more plant-based, but unfortunately I can't really like eat like Beyond Meat or anything like that because of legumes and like pea protein and like also like protein powders. Like I can't eat that because of all the legumes. So that would probably be my hardest. So growing up, did you guys have like many friends with food allergies?
I remember I don't think I met someone who also had food allergies until high school, probably. Actually, there was one person in my elementary school classes that also had allergies to peanuts, but he was the only person I knew really, and his like it wasn't severe at all, so it really didn't compare to all the allergies that I have. But then in high school, I started meeting more people that had allergies, but it's still really rare. Like I was surprised. Like I'm going to a camp this summer that my roommate has allergies as well, and I was really surprised honestly that they actually had someone with allergies. Like here in Tag has been the real only place that I've met people with the same allergies as me.
I think I knew maybe one or two people with allergies before tag, but yeah, not really anybody.
Yeah, for me, I think I had like maybe like one or two friends who have like minor food allergies like growing up. Like maybe like a peanut allergy or something, but like nothing like with what I've met for the people at Bear, like with a multitude of food allergies just like me. I did have like one friend who had like serious like anaphylactic allergies, but like she never took them seriously. So I didn't really have any friends who like face the same like difficulties of like living with food allergies as me.
Yeah, like growing up in kindergarten, I had someone in my class with food allergies, and throughout elementary school, like the five of us at the peanut-free table. I was never like close to anyone with food allergies, but sometimes in middle school I'd mention it, and the person I was talking to would be like, "Oh yeah, I have a melon allergy. I totally get you." And I'm kind of like, that's not really the same thing. Like I would die if I ate my allergies, but yeah, I never really met a lot of people until I joined Fair Tag, and then I was like, whoa, okay, yeah, they're a lot more like me.
I actually have known in the hundreds of people with food allergies throughout my growing up in my life. Um, I go to the only summer camp in the entire country for people with food allergies. It's an overnight camp called Camp Blue Spruce, and I've been going for the past 9 years. And it's not a massive camp, but there are different people every year, and I have met hundreds of people through that. I also work as a teacher for Food Allergy Canada, and I've done that since I was 10. um, so growing in elementary school, growing up, I didn't know many people at all. I didn't really have any friends, but with food allergies, and but now when I hit like 9 or 10, I started to meet more and more people, and now I think I'm, especially joining Tag as well. Now I think I'm in the hundreds of people that I know.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Where's that camp located? Is it like in California or?
It is in Falls City, Oregon.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I feel like knowing people with food allergies also depends like your geographical region, like where you're from. Like I feel like maybe for you, Melody, in like California, like I feel like there would be like a little more people with food allergies there than like compared to like other places. But yeah, that's really interesting. So, do your family members like eat what you're allergic to?
Mm, I mean, mine, yeah, mine do for the most part, like, because a lot of times they'll make different pastas like rigatoni or like spaghetti and stuff, and they'll put a sauce that's dairy free because they don't want to have to make two different sauces. But other than that, like, they pretty much every time they make a meal, they'll make one that I can eat that has like modifications like no cream sauce, or I don't know, they didn't put butter on something, and then they'll make another separate meal after what they make me, and then that has like everything I'm allergic to in it. And yeah, that's pretty much what they do.
My family never eats like tree nuts or peanuts around me, but sometimes they'll like eat something that's cross contaminated or something. Like sometimes I'll get Chinese food and I'll just make a separate meal because I can't have Chinese food because that's a lot of cross contamination. But yeah, they're always really good about my food allergies.
Yeah, same with Emily. We don't have like a jar of milk or a carton of eggs here. I mean, they have like things I'm allergic to, like in their lunches and stuff, but most of our family dinners never have any of my allergens, so they're really, really good about it.
Yeah, for my family, I feel like they eat, like I said, like a lot of legumes just because it's not that serious for me. They don't eat like what I'm seriously allergic to, like nuts, but they eat like fish, they eat sushi all the time, and I'll always like get a separate meal for me.
Yeah, my family eats a lot of what I am allergic to, and I mean it's perfectly fine by me. I have a wonderful family who are super careful, but I also know that my family really enjoys some of the things that I just can't eat, and I kind of just don't want to take that away from them. Um, Saying, hey, as long as they're careful, I'm fine with having them in the house because I know what I can and can't have.
Yeah. So, what would you say your go-to like food cuisine is when you eat out? I feel like there's a lot of different answers, like depending on what allergies you have. So, I'm gonna keep like asking this question to future guests. So, what about you guys?
I like Chipotle the best. Like, of all the restaurants, they've been so good about my allergies. Like every time I ask them to make, because they make the tacos and stuff like with you watching. And so they kind of go down the aisle or whatever it is, and they just put everything that I tell them to put in my tacos. But then I also tell them like, yeah, I have a cheese allergy, so make sure you don't get my tacos near the cheese. And then usually they change their gloves and stuff, like just to make sure that there's no cross contamination. And I've never had any kind of reaction when I was getting food from Chipotle, and I've been getting food from there for like 10 years. So they've always had great results there.
Yeah, I feel like for me, I always go for like Italian food because for me personally, that always seems to accommodate my allergies.
Yeah, definitely American and Italian food for me because I never see any tree nuts or peanuts between those two unless it's in like gelato or some kind of dessert.
I just eat salad. I know that's not like a type of cuisine, but yeah, salad's kind of my go-to because I know what I can put in it and all of that. And Lindsay, that's really interesting where you are with the Chipotle, because California, I absolutely not. Like, I would not trust Chipotle's here to um, handle my food allergies because it's just they don't care enough.
Wow, that's crazy. I remember when I went to California, In-N-Out Burger was also really good about my allergies. Like, I don't know if it's like that for you, but yeah, every time I got a burger there, like they always yelled in the back, like, we've got an allergy person. And I was like, that makes me feel so good.
It does. In and out is yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, Melody, what you were saying about getting a salad most places, I don't know why. I find that so interesting when people with food allergies say that. Because whenever I go to a restaurant, I can never, the one thing I can never get is a salad. Because, like, all the nuts that they like to put in salads and everything, I just find that so interesting.
Yeah, I feel like I also usually have to be careful with like the salad just because of like croutons and like eggs. But I typically always have like Greek salad if that's like available because that's usually pretty good with my allergens.
I
So
actually have never eaten out before, so
you've never eaten out before?
no, we just don't take any risks. So the only thing I've gotten from a restaurant is like a juice box from McDonald's.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, it's a lot safer, probably a lot easier like on your mind to do that. Yeah. So, If you could get rid of your allergies for a day, what would you guys try?
A Starbucks Frappuccino, 100%. I've been like dying my whole life to try one. Maybe one day I should just make a copycat recipe at home because I'll be a lot safer. But I mean, if one day my food allergies just disappear for a day, that's what I would try.
For me, I love like vegan sushi, vegetable sushi so much. I mean, I used to eat it at a Japanese restaurant, but then I found like sesame seeds and like fish eggs as I kept going back. So I've definitely stayed away from like Japanese restaurants, but I always make vegetable sushi at home. And I would definitely want to try like normal like fish sushi because that just seems so good.
Yeah, I would try a donut. Like, I don't know. I just heard they're really good. Like, my parents love going to eat donuts, and that's one thing that I've never really been able to find a vegan substitute for at all. Like, now I've had a Starbucks Frappuccino a couple times, and I basically just had it with soy milk and didn't have any reaction, but I also wouldn't recommend trying one since they're not as careful as a lot of restaurants I've been to. But yeah, I would definitely try a donut as probably one of the first things that I would eat.
I think I would get ice cream. I don't know, like it just looks so good, like one of like the really fancy ones you can get.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree with Lauren with ice cream because I always get so jealous of my family sometimes.
Yeah. So like speaking of like Starbucks and like cross contamination, that type of thing. So do you guys like eat foods that are like made on shared equipment or like in the same facility of your allergens? Because I know like different people do different things.
When it says made in a facility, we always end up calling the facility and people who work for the facility to see if they're made on the same line as things with dairy and specifics. I've had a couple of pretty severe reactions off of things that have crossed on the same line. So I just don't take those risks anymore. Um, when I was a kid, it wasn't as bad, but now I just don't want to take that risk.
Yeah, I do the same thing as Melody. We always like call a new company from trying a new food, and we don't eat anything that's like may contain or made on the same line as or anything like that.
Yeah, for me personally, I've never eaten like anything made in like the same facility or on the same equipment just because I always like want to make sure that I'm 100% safe. So that's what I usually do.
Yeah, I just stay away from all those labels pretty much because when I was little, I didn't know I had any food allergies. So I would eat snacks that were processed with tree nuts and everything, and my lips and my face would just swell up. And ever since I knew I had an allergy, I'm just like, no, I'm gonna pass on that.
I think like for me, it really depends. I think my parents kind of set a bad example when I was like really young because when I was like 5 or 6, I started eating foods that were made and like that they said like they're made in the same facility as like tree nuts and peanuts and stuff. And I think like I've never eaten anything that says like it may contain nuts or it may contain like dairy or eggs. But every it's funny because every single food or like snack item pretty much that I've gotten because I started getting the snacks that I still eat like years ago, probably like 6 or 7 years ago. But almost every single one of those snacks that I eat says it was made in like the same facility as like dairy or eggs. And so I think a couple of times we've definitely have like called the brand or called like the facility and kind of asked like if they're made on the same line. But for the most part, I haven't done that, and I feel like I probably should do that more often because it's more safe. But I think that since I've been eating like these different snacks for so long, like I think that usually there shouldn't be a chance that they would all of a sudden get ingredients that I'm allergic to in it just because they've been so consistent in the past. But yeah, I definitely feel like my experience with that has probably been like super different.
So what types of allergic reaction symptoms do you guys usually like experience and like do different foods like give you like different types of symptoms?
I actually haven't had an anaphylactic reaction since I was 3 and first diagnosed with egg allergy, but I do have OAS, oral allergy syndrome, so I get like my tongue gets tingly or my throat gets a little itchy if I eat certain like raw fruits or vegetables.
Yeah, for me, like when I eat, or I haven't had an allergic reaction in a while. But when I used to like accidentally eat like sesame seeds or like, I don't think I've ever eaten nuts, but like sesame seeds or like traces of egg, then I would have like a gastrointestinal reaction. Like I would usually like throw up, and then sometimes my lip would like get swollen and like I would get hives. But I've never had an anaphylactic reaction, thank goodness.
Yeah, I've never had an anaphylactic reaction either. I'm very thankful about that. I think it's because my parents got me tested for nuts when I was really young, like before they even knew that I would be allergic to them at all. And so once they found out that it was super severe, we're just like, okay, not gonna eat any more nuts. My parents stopped eating nuts. But anyways, I have had a bunch of different reactions when it came to like I accidentally ate the wrong cookie, or like a couple times at Starbucks they gave me the wrong frappuccino. That did not go very well. But basically, my tongue would swell up or like my throat would swell up. Those are like the biggest symptoms. And then with eggs, it would always just be like gastrointestinal reaction. I think that the reactions for me really differ depending on what kind of allergen I'm eating. Like they're totally different across the board when it comes to like milk versus like eggs or versus like mustard possibly.
Yeah, so for me, I also haven't had an allergic reaction in a very long time. When I was little and I used to eat stuff that was cross contaminated with tree nuts and peanuts because I didn't know I had any allergies, I would just get a little bit of like swelling on like my face and my lips would swell up. And the one anaphylactic reaction I had like head to toe hives, swelling, and my throat was like swelling up. And I didn't know at the time that my throat was swelling up. I just thought I had a really sore throat because that's what it feels like.
Yeah, I've had 3 major anaphylactic reactions in my life. One was about 2 years ago. So, I mean, fairly recently. Um, I have all the anaphylaxis symptoms, racing heart, closing throat, trouble breathing, all that jazz. But also, I don't know if anyone else with dairy allergies has issues with this, but I learned about, yeah, 2 years ago that sometimes having a very severe dairy allergy makes it so that you can't really eat beef. Um, I learned this when I was, yeah, 2 years ago. I had eaten something with a large amount of beef in it, and my body was just absolutely dead. I had stomach problems for days, and I just felt awful in it. And it's a really weird thing that my doctor had told me with when you have a really severe dairy allergy. So yeah, when I was a kid, I ate literally all the beef ever. But now I'm 17 and it's like I can't eat beef at all anymore because I feel so sick. It's just a really weird thing.
Yeah, so when was like the last allergic, like what was the last allergic reaction and when was it that you guys experienced?
I think the last allergic reaction, at least I remember, is when I was 5 years old and I had the anaphylactic reaction.
I think my last like major one was when I was still like extremely sensitive to eggs, and I was like 9, I want to say, and like I was at my grandma's house and she didn't really read the ingredients of like a veggie burger she was feeding me, and I didn't know any better, so I ate it, and then I felt like extremely ill, and like my stomach was hurting like so bad, and I like felt really nauseous. So I ended up taking Benadryl, but it was too late. And then like a couple minutes after I like threw up. So that wasn't fun. But that was like the last one I had.
Yeah, I think the last one I had was it was a couple years ago. I lost count honestly. I think it was like 3 or 4 years ago. But my parents they voluntarily gave me a pizza that didn't have vegan cheese in it. It had real cheese, and I was like, what's the point? But anyways, they were like, we think that you can start building up immunity to milk if you start eating it more. So they were like, okay, well, we're gonna try this pizza, just see how it goes. And I'm like, it's not gonna go well. And it didn't. I don't even know what happened, but I just remember I got a lot of hives and I was only able to take like 3 bites of it. But they shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, my last one was 2 years ago due to cross contamination at a pizza place, which I have trusted for years. Um, and I was at school and I just started to get all of the anaphylactic symptoms. But thank goodness I caught it with Benadryl. And I know you're not really supposed to do that because when you're having these symptoms, it's the best to use a EpiPen because antihistamines don't help as much. But thank goodness I managed to stop it in time with the Benadryl.
Yeah. Have you guys ever been at like a restaurant and like you're given the food, but then like you realize after or before you eat it, even that it's like cross contaminated and they like made a mistake? Like, has that ever happened to you guys?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, I feel like that's happened to me like many times, but I'm always like super like careful whenever I eat out. So I ask like the waiter tons of questions and I've always like managed to catch it. Like once I remember I was like in New York and like they gave me like they said the rolls were okay, but then they came back after and they said it was actually made with like peanut oil. So I caught it like right before I was about to eat it. So that was really fortunate. And then another time I was like at a restaurant and they gave me like chicken and like right before I was going to eat it I asked like do they make this in the same place that you've grilled the fish, and it turned out they did, so I was lucky enough to catch that one too.
I can't remember a time at a restaurant where that happened, but recently, like the last time I went to the hair salon, they were shampooing my hair and we made sure that it was safe. I asked the lady, does this have almond oil in it? She said no. And so I bought the shampoo because it was really good. And I went to use it later and I was checking the ingredients again and I saw almond oil on it. And so things like that will happen where I buy something and realize that it's cross contaminated, but I can't remember an instance in a restaurant where that happened.
I think the last time that happened to me was at a burger place, and what happened was a lot of burgers, I think they put the sauce on it. I don't even know what's in it, but I'm 99% sure it has some kind of dairy or it's kind of like ranch dressing, but my parents said it tastes better. But anyways, I've had a lot of times where I would get the burger and then because I already have to ask the people about the bun because it often has eggs in it, and whenever it doesn't, I would get the burger with the bun and then I'd have to open it up, and a lot of times when I opened it up, it would have sauce in it, and I was like, oh, I don't think I ordered this. But they would say like it's complimentary, it comes with the burger, but then basically because I know that has milk in it, I basically would have to say, no, you have to make me a new burger, and that was definitely a hassle. But I'm glad that I discovered the sauce that they put in because then I can let them know for next time, like whenever I go there, oh hey, I want sauce taken off the burger now.
Yeah, so our last question is what are your favorite food allergy friendly brands to eat?
I so much enjoy life. I love all of their desserts. They're so good and they're so great there about having no cross contamination or anything like that. So
Yeah, I really love No Way as well. I love their Choco No Nos are like my favorite type of candy pretty much. And then of course Oreos, those are like probably my favorite food. But then I also like these chips called popcorners, and they're really good. I think they have a couple different flavors that are like more sweet and more salty, but none of them have cheese, and I think that's great since most popcorn things that I come across always have like some cheese or butter. And I also like the Daya cheese. That's really good too.
One of my favorites is Safe and Fair. They have really good chocolate granola. And there's this local place called Videri Chocolate Factory. It's in Raleigh, North Carolina. They have the best nut-free chocolate and soft serve. It is amazing. I think you can also order a couple of their chocolate bonbons online. So if you get a chance to try those, they are amazing. The absolute best.
Yeah, those are so good. I've tried them before though. Okay, the bonbons, they're so good.
I love No Way, Lindsay. That's like one of my favorite things. But also, they're not safe for all food allergens, and I don't think they're all the way across the country. But Pete's Coffee, my goodness. I am a coffee holic. I'm addicted. Um, and they have, I discovered them, I think, last year. Well, I didn't discover them, but I discovered that they were like so good with food allergies. Apparently, I have a friend who used to work there, and they spend like 4 days on just food allergies. I'm like, that's that's amazing. And I've never seen a company do that. So I have a lot of trust in them, and their coffee is absolutely amazing. And I yeah, I'm addicted.
That is actually so good to know because my parents sometimes will go to California because that's where my dad's work is based. And so they love Pete's Coffee. They always go a lot when we're in California. I always thought it wasn't safe to eat there, so I've never tried anything from them. So maybe next time I'll go try something. And I also saw it on your Instagram story the other day, Melody. So I was like, yes, to Pete's Coffee.
Yes. Yeah, they're great. They're my opinion, they're much better than Starbucks because again, Californian Starbucks, they don't care. It's really bad.
Yeah, I really like Make Good just because I only was able to like eat one type of granola bar before, but now I could like eat a bunch of different types, so that's really cool. Like I've never been able to like also eat like loose granola because that's always been like cross-contaminated and other things. So that's pretty cool. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this episode.
Thanks for having us.
This was so fun.
Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you want to support Just Allergy Things' mission in promoting food allergy awareness, you can follow us at Just Allergy Things on Instagram. And make sure to check out the Just Allergy Things magazine on justallergythings.com. Thank you again for listening, and until next time, bye!